So I extend my best wishes for a pleasant day to all the students and participants who've joined here today for this seminar. My name is Dr. Astha Bhardwaj. I am a teacher by profession, a researcher by interest, and an optimist by choice. Today, I will address three key aspects. Number one, the role of technology in agriculture. Second, the socialization of technology in agriculture. And third, the realm of organic foods and organic farming. So, for that, let me just present my screen. Please wait for a while. I'm sharing my screen with you all. Just a moment, please. Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, doctor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so without any further delay, let's get started. Picture this, imagine this, a single farmer feeding thousands, even millions of people. Sounds impossible, right? Well, it's not, thanks to the incredible fusion of technology and farming. You know, in the very early days, farming was actually primarily envisioned as a very labor intensive process where handheld tools were used for crop harvesting, for sowing, for seeding, for irrigation, etc. However, the farming methods today have greatly evolved over the last few years. With the advent of technology, farming methods are increasingly becoming very much more refined, less manual, crop yields are increasing, and the crop quality is getting better day by day. So, before we actually plunge into the technology part of it, let's just take a moment to appreciate the enormous significance of agriculture. See, agriculture is not just about filling our dinner plates. It is actually about the roots of our human civilization. So let me start by saying that as all of us know that agriculture is the backbone and the foundation of human civilization. It's not just a sector, it's a base, it's a foundation, and it's the source of food, clothing, and raw materials for many sectors. Agriculture has certainly been a driving force for thousands of years, which dates back to the earliest human settlements. It enables the communities to move from their nomadic lifestyles to more progressive and settled societies. I just need to check whether the presentation is being recorded or not. Just a moment, please. I'll just have a look. Yes, okay. All right. So, the very next significance of agriculture is in its economic contribution. The agriculture provides employment to millions and millions of people and supports related industries like the processing industry, like the manufacturing sector, like the packaging sector, and so on. The next aspect of agriculture is that it ensures food security. You know, agriculture plays a very important role in ensuring global food security. It ensures a stable and a reliable food supply to meet the needs of a growing population. And with this comes the certainly comes the environmental impact. You know, agriculture has a profound impact on the environment that affects the biodiversity, that affects the land use, that affects the water resources. So certainly sustainable agricultural practices are crucial for preserving our planet. Last but not the least is the global interdependence. You know that agriculture, it is an interconnected global system with countries relying on each other for various agricultural products. So certainly agriculture fosters international cooperation and trade. So, when we talk about so many good things about agriculture, there are so many challenges that the agriculture or the agricultural sector faces, such as maybe the climate change, maybe the resources scarcity, and the food waste. And clearly, when the challenges are there, these challenges also present opportunities for us to innovate and to go for sustainable practices. Now, I will be using this word sustainability or sustainable quite a few number of times. What does this word sustainability means? Sustainability is actually a practice of meeting the current needs and demands without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. In simple terms, I would say that sustainability means taking care of your needs in a way that doesn't harm or be detrimental to the ability of the people of the future generations. It's about using your sources very wisely. It's about being mindful of the environment so that we can enjoy a good quality of life now and certainly for the future generations to come. So, in conclusion, I would like to say that agriculture is not just about farming, it's about sustenance, it's about culture, it's about economics, and ultimately, it's about our planet's future. Just a little bit background on how the Industrial Revolution during the 18th and the 19th century shaped up our world, our agricultural practices, and cut to 21st century with the advent of digital and technological revolution, what transformations took place in the agricultural sector. So just a quick background of the industrial revolution which took place in the 18th and the 19th century, and that involved numerous aspects like introduction of the machinery. Back in the day, farming was all about sweat and muscle. You imagine tilling the land and harvesting the crops with sheer human effort. It was really, really tough work. So the Industrial Revolution, it marked a shift from the manual labor to the mechanized production by the use of mechanical reapers, by the use of steam powered tractors that drastically increased the farm productivity. The next transformation was the urbanization. I've mentioned here urbanization. So the industrial revolution, spurred urbanization as people moved from the rural areas to the cities in search of industrial jobs. So this demographic shift reduced the agricultural workforce and changed the way society interacts with the farming sector. Then the next aspect was clearly economic transformation. Industrialization boosted the economic growth, leading to an increased wealth and rise of the middle class. And this in turn changed the consumer preferences and created new markets for agricultural products. And lastly, social changes. Social change is a classical example of a social change will be a woman who had mainly worked on the farms now began taking jobs in the factories in the industrial sector. So this traditional agrarian community began to shift towards more urban, more industrial lifestyles. So this was in the 18th and the 19th century, which initiated the transformation of the agricultural sector. Cut to 21st century with the advent of the digital and the technological revolution, and as you know that the world population is drastically increasing day by day, and because of the natural resources, lack of natural resources, because of the climatic changes, because of global warming, the food security is a major issue, is and will be a major issue in the future. So for considering these issues, agricultural sector plays a very important role in maintaining the food supply as well as it ensures food security. It is this agricultural sector, I must mention that it is the world's uh, single largest employer, where more than 40% of the world's population is dependent on this industry for their income, for their employment opportunities. As a result,
Hello, ma'am.
I, yes, please, you want to say something?
Yes,
Is
ma'am. Are you showing a screenshot?
is my
There's a
screen
light,
is my
but
screen
because
visible to you?
I can't see.
Is my screen not visible to you?
No, that's why.
Okay, just a moment, please. Let me check. I'll just reshare again, please. Just a moment. Is my screen visible now?
Not yet, ma'am.
Okay, just a moment, please. Let me check. Is my screen visible now? I have started it again. Can you tell me?
Yes,
Ma'am, not because here is also network problem. That's why.
Sorry, come again. What do you say?
Due to network problem. I mean,
Uh, Anybody else who is able to see my video, my presentation?
Yeah, I
only
can
I'm
see.
able to see.
Yes, I think others are able to see. So probably there is some connectivity issue at your end.
Yeah, maybe his network crashes. That's why he can see it properly.
Yeah, but then this is visible now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great, great.
So,
All right. So I was talking about the 21st century, the digital and the technological revolution, which brought about an altogether technological transformation in the agriculture. Recent technological developments like the use of drones, like the use of robots, like the use of artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, precision agriculture. There are so many new advents in technology which have not only enhanced the production, optimized the use of resources, but also reduced the waste and ensures traceability and quality of food. I have just in brief mentioned a few of the technologies which have really helped the agricultural sector in gearing up in a better way. For example, the first one I've mentioned here is introduction to precision agriculture. The agriculture and the farming practices are no more about the farmer's gut feeling. This 21st century has witnessed the rise of precision agriculture, which in simple terms means you give a farm a smart makeover. It's like using technologies such as GPS, the navigation, sensors, drones, computers to help farmers make a really precise decision about how to grow their crops. See, you may think of it as using high technology tools to make sure that every plant gets exactly what it needs, where it needs, so that farming is more efficient and fewer resources are wasted, like water, like fertilizer, and other things. The next is digital connectivity. These days internet is not only about watching videos and memes. No, it has become a farmer's best friend. You imagine a farmer in the middle of the farm pulling out his phone to check the weather forecast, to check the market prices, and even getting expert advice. It's like having an agricultural encyclopedia inside your pocket. Then the third aspect is automation and robotics. We always have an image of a farmer, somebody who's working under the sun all day, who's covered with all sweat. Now forget that image. In this digital era, digital age, the machines are doing some exceptional heavy lifting work. Self driven tractors, robotic harvesters, and even drones are the farmers' new hands for crop monitoring, spraying, as well as sprinkling purposes. The next is data driven farming. Traditionally, all the farming decisions were mostly based on the farmer's experience and a bit of luck. Well, now it's all about the big data and the artificial intelligence. You may imagine the farms as smart thinkers which analyze tons of data from the sensors, from satellites, and much more. They use this data to make decisions about the planting, watering, pest control, harvesting. It's like farming with a supercomputer brain. And I just used a word, if you noticed, which was big data analytics. Big data analytics. Big data is actually an extensive collection of both structured and unstructured data that can be used for analyzing or used for predicting, you can say, measures for better decision making. All thanks to smart machines, all thanks to the sensors that can generate that vast amount of data. And this data, when goes for analyzing, uses so much of softwares, uses algorithms, and based on which the farmers are able to predict the rainfall patterns, the water cycles, the fertilizer requirements, and much more. This enables them to make smart decisions. That is why I say data driven decision making. So you are able to make decisions for your crop based on the data that you have analyzed and generated, related to the crop health, related to the soil moisture, related to the pest control, and so on. And ultimately, the right decisions improve farm productivity, farm yields. And last but not the least is global connectivity. Farms used to be a local affair, but not anymore. The digital revolution has turned farms into a global player. Even a small farmer can now sell its produce to customers all around the world thanks to the e-commerce and online markets. It's like turning a local shop into a worldwide online superstore. So, in a nutshell, I must say that 21st century has massively revolutionized farming. Precision tools, internet, robots, data, sensors, global connections are changing how we grow our food. It's like giving farms a superhero upgrade, making them more efficient, connected, and ready to tackle the challenges of tomorrow. So, this was it about a background and an introduction to what I will be speaking about. Now, I am formally coming to the topic, which is socialization of technologies in agriculture. Okay, so imagine you have a new toy or a gadget. At first, you might not know how to use it, but as you learn and play with it, it becomes a part of your daily life, right? Now think of farms and farming. The farmers use cutting edge technology and innovative tools, like I've just mentioned, to grow crops and to raise their animals. So, socialization of technology in agriculture means the use of these new tools, new technologies, new gadgets that will become an important and a normal part of how farmers perform their job. It's not just about having fancy machines. It's not just about having fancy tractors or computers. It is actually about how these machines would change how food is grown, how farmers work, and even how rural communities live. So, in simple terms, it's like when new tools and technology become a great help to a farmer and farming, just like your favorite toy or your gadget helps you with fun things every day. So, whenever I say technological socialization in agriculture or socialization of technology in agriculture, I'm referring to the development of technologies that are compatible to our social system. The technologies are fine, but they should be able to integrate well into our existing practices, agricultural practices, into our existing beliefs, religious faith, cultural setup in which the technologies have to play their role. So clearly, technologies are there, definitely there, but how will they be incorporated into our current system is a major challenge, and that is what we'll be speaking of. Now, when I talk about this technological socialization, I am going to cover various aspects to it. I've just mentioned in this slide. Number one is integration into farming practices. You know, just imagine a picture. Imagine technology as like a friendly helper on the farm. Now, this would include probably incorporation of mechanized machinery. It will involve digital tools, data analytics, biotechnology into day to day operations of the farms. I'll give you a very classical example of integration of technology into farming practices. And the example is GPS enabled tractors. GPS is Global Positioning System, which is installed in tractors or farming vehicles, which determine the precise location of these tractors in large fields. So basically, this technology allows the farmers to perform tasks such as planting seeds, applying fertilizers, harvesting crops, but with exceptional accuracy. So, GPS enabled tractors are one of the most upcoming technologies which use navigation, which often we call as Google Maps, right? So it is something similar to that, which will be giving you an idea about the locations of the coordinates of the field where the seeding must be done, where the fertilizer must be applied, and where the crops will be harvested. The next aspect is impact on agricultural communities. So it's not just about adoption of a technology, but we have to see how it influences the rural community. So as these technologies become common, they will certainly reshape the role of farmers, farm workers, and families within the community. For example, automation, if we bring automation to the industry, it would certainly reduce the need for manual labor, and it will lead to changes in the employment patterns and community demographics. Think of it as just like a rural makeover with your technology as the star of the place. Then the next aspect is economic transformation. Clearly, when the socialization of technology in agriculture leads to economic shifts within the rural areas. When farms get efficient, it would certainly mean more money for the farmers and newer opportunities for the farmers. I hope I'm audible to all of you. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Okay, okay. So, for example, the introduction of e-commerce platforms, which has become very, very prevalent these days, is allowing or is enabling the farmers to access global markets directly, hence altering the traditional supply chain. The next aspect is cultural and social dynamics. Agricultural technology has the power, has the potential to influence cultural practices. For instance, just imagine any of your town's traditional summer festivals, maybe autumn festivals. But now it happens with the help of drones and artificial intelligence displays. So, very interestingly, it can be called as a blend of old age customs with a modern twist. Then the next aspect is governmental policies and support. Government policies play a very crucial role in the socialization of technologies in agriculture. The government, just like your parents set rules at home for you, similarly, the governments provide incentives, put in some regulations, rules, provide subsidies, which can either encourage or hinder with the adoption of specific technologies. Last but not the least is environmental and sustainability considerations. You know, the integration or the incorporation of technology can affect the relationship between agriculture and the environment. For example, I mentioned big data just initially in my initial slide, or the data driven क्या बोलते हैं, data driven insights. So for instance, the use of these data driven insights can promote sustainable farming practices, reducing the environmental impact of agriculture. And I can definitely say that technology and nature can be the best friends. So, advanced technologies will certainly help the farmers make more eco friendly choices, like using the right amount of water, like using the right amount of fertilizer, making farming more sustainable with optimized use of raw materials or ingredients for crop production. So, what is the purpose of our journey today? It is simple. We are going to unravel how technology is not just changing our farms but the entire communities. And in doing so, we will discover the incredible impact it is having on our world. Okay, so we are going to talk about three types of agricultural technologies today, which come under which each of which are offering unique approaches to address the challenges and opportunities in the modern agriculture, which aim at resource optimization and which aim at enhancing the productivity, again enhancing the sustainability, and finally environmental conservation. So when I talk about technology and agriculture being friends, three or four challenges are to be addressed. Number one, as I mentioned, it has to be optimized use of resources. Number two will be efficient farm productivity. Number three is enhancement in sustainability. And number four is environmental conservation. So, we are going to talk about one by one each of these three types of agricultural technologies, namely number one, precision agriculture or precision farming, number two, biotechnology and genetic engineering, and number three, sustainable and organic farm practices. Let us speak of the very first one, which is precision farming, or also known as precision agriculture. It is an advanced approach to farming that utilizes technology, data, and scientific principles to optimize the efficiency, sorry, productivity, and sustainability of the agricultural practices. You know, uh, this precision agriculture basically makes use of information technology, IT sector. It makes use of softwares. It makes use of specialized equipments and IT services to ensure that the crops and the soil receive exactly what they need for optimum health and productivity. I've written here that this involves the precise management of resources like the optimum amount of water, fertilizer, pesticides, insecticides, or even labor tailored to the specific needs of each crop or section of a field. So, let me put this in an interesting manner so that you're able to understand in a better way. Precision farming is all about, you can say, gathering a treasure from the farm. Imagine soil samples being taken like you take fingerprints, and imagine drones hovering your heads just like surveillance cameras, and tiny sensors which have been scattered in the fields like undercover agents. So I have tried to make an analogy out of it so that you can probably relate what is exactly precision farming. So basically, as I just mentioned, that precision agriculture or precision farming relies upon utilization of specialized equipment, softwares, and information technology to assess real time data about the condition of the crops, the soil, the air, along with weather predictions, the labor cost, the equipment availability, etc. And this can be done by means of satellites, by means of drones, by means of wearable sensors. Okay, now let us have a look at the components of precision agriculture. Just a moment, please. All right. So I am now starting with the components of precision agriculture. As you can see, we have jotted down about 7 to 8 components, starting with GPS and GIS. GPS stands for the Global Positioning System, whereas GIS stands for Geographical Information System. I'm going to talk about it just in a while. The next is auto steer, wireless telematics, VRT, artificial intelligence, remote sensing, data collection and analysis, and yield monitors. Let me take each of these components one by one so that you are able to understand it in a better way. I am starting with the first component of uh, precision agriculture, which is data collection, which is followed by data analysis. Now, as I mentioned that precision farming relies on collection of a wide array of data, which includes information about the soil health, weather conditions, crop health, terrain type, field characteristics, and so many things. So this data is then gathered through various means, like I just mentioned, that weather prediction could be through the satellites, then navigation could be through the GPS technology, then crop health monitoring can be through the sensors, and so on. So this data is when it is generated, then it is sent for analyzing using sophisticated softwares and algorithms which generate insights, and based on those insights the farmers and the agronomists make informed decisions about the farming practices. Let me put it this way. I have mentioned here number one, data collection. So when we talk about data collection, what type of data do we need? Number one, the data could be about soil information. So what farmers would do is they will dig up small representative samples of soil from different parts of the farm or the field to understand the soil's nutrient levels, mineral levels, and pH balance. It's like the soil telling us what it exactly needs. And then next is the weather condition. As I just mentioned, satellites. Satellites in space, they can act as excellent weather reporters, which sends information, real-time updates 24/7. And then the next is crop health. When I talk about crop health, there are sensors which are installed in the fields Think of them as doctors who check and monitor each plant's vital signs like their temperature, like their moisture content, etc. And then next is field characteristics. So as you know that you have Google Maps, similarly imagine having Google Maps for farms with every corner of the field just mapped out, and this will be helped by the GPS technology or the navigation technology that will help in mapping each corner of the farms or the field's terrain. And finally, after all this data is collected, then it goes for analyzing, data analysis. What kind of analysis? Once all these data is gathered, then they go to a data lab where using sophisticated softwares and algorithms, they analyze these data, these clues for certain patterns and for certain insights. Now, what kind of patterns and what kind of insights? I'll just give some examples. Number one is, for example, patterns in soil. So that software that you'll use, or probably that algorithm that you'll use, will identify which parts of the field need more nutrients or different types of soil treatment required. Next is weather predictions. Algorithms will use weather data to predict when it will rain, or when frost might hit, or if it is going to be a sunny day the next day, it is going to be a high temperature day, and so on. Then the next is crop health diagnosis. The software will help you to detect signs of stress or disease or infestation in the crop, so that precautionary or remedial measures can be taken so as to stop the crop from being spoiled. And the last one is field mapping. As I just mentioned, that you can use GPS technology for mapping every corner of the farm's terrain, and based on that, the algorithms will create a detailed field map and highlight those areas which need special attention. Maybe those areas which have lesser moisture, maybe those areas which have started or initiated pest infestation, where the crops are going are desiccating, or any of the stress signs for a crop. So basically, analyzing this data will facilitate an informed decision making by the farmers, and based on the information now what they have obtained, they will now know that if the soil needs more nutrients in one area, they apply the fertilizers only there. Based on weather predictions, they would decide whether it is best to which duration is best to plant or harvest. Then based on the crop health data, they will be able to decide what kind of pesticide may be used for maybe for preventing the crop from undergoing disease or infestation. And finally, all these things are ultimately leading to efficient resource optimization or allocation. So clearly, we are using exactly what is needed. We are not using anything extra. The amount of water, it should be optimized. The amount of fertilizers, they must be optimized. The amount of other things that are required, maybe some phosphate salts, rock phosphate, and insecticides and other things, all have to be monitored and optimized, which not only save time, save the resources, but they also save the money. All right, so these were the first two components of precision agriculture, which we just talked about. This one, data collection and analysis. Now we move on to the second component, which is VRT, variable rate technology. Yes, VRT stands for variable rate technology, which is based on VRA. Now, the definition or the abbreviation for VRA is, the full form for VRA is variable rate application. So, it uses data and automation to apply fertilizer, crop protection products like insecticides, pesticides, seeds, and even irrigation water at different rates in different locations of the field, without a grower having to change application rates or make multiple passes manually. Let me put it in a simple way. See, when imagine that you and your friend visit a doctor for, let's say, some of your respective ailments. The doctor will give you some medicine, and the doctor will give your friend another medicine. It will not be, of course, the same. Even if he gives the same medicine to both of you for a certain ailment, the dosage might vary. He might give you a, let's say, a 30 mg capsule, whereas he might give your friend a, let's say, 80 mg capsule. So that will depend on what is required by your body and what is the severity of the ailment in your in your body. So clearly, when a doctor is able to distinguish between what dosage must be given to each of his or her parents, similarly, this VRT does exactly similar for the farms. It is going to analyze using data, using sensors, using satellites, and it is going to understand the unique needs of each part of the field. And then it tells the farm equipment to apply just the right amount of nutrients or chemicals or pesticides to help the crops grow their best. So basically, it focuses on applying herbicides and pesticides and lime and gypsum and other crop nutrients, maybe for seeding also, for detection of weeds and diseased crops also. So basically, this VRT works by using GPS and GIS technology. GPS is Global Positioning System Navigation, and GIS, I already told you, is Geographic Information System technology, which basically helps to locate, I can say, precise locations in the field for material application. They enable the farmers to create a map. As you can see a picture here, it has created a prescription map that will now guide the machinery to apply resources precisely only where they are needed, hence optimizing the resource use and crop performance. Okay. Then I have already spoken about GPS and GIS. Just one slide on it, please. You can have a read. Global Positioning System is often used to accurately determine the location of the farm equipment and to guide their movements. The examples could be GPS enabled tractors, like the one I just previously mentioned, who can follow precise paths while planting or harvesting, or in low visibility conditions they can work very well. This means that you can probably the farmers can use devices to map this GPS and GIS both. When used in combination, they are used in precision agriculture for many purposes like farm planning, field mapping, soil sampling, crop scouting. Scouting means checking for any form of pest infestation. Okay. And next, yield mapping. So this means that the farmers can use devices to map exactly where the resources of the farm will be used, so that the resources can be optimized and the farm efficiency can be increased. The next component of precision agriculture is remote sensing. Remote sensing is a field of study and technology that involves gathering information about the Earth's surface or other objects from a distance. It utilizes various devices, sensors such as satellites, drones, airplanes to collect data without making a physical contact with the target. This makes use of GIS, that is the Geographical Information System, which enables the farmers to map field data, organize it, analyze it, and monitor their crops remotely. GPS, robotics, drones, satellite monitoring have all contributed to the farm automation. So, all in all, I would just like to say that remote sensing has many applications. For example, it can help predict the weather, it can monitor changes in the land, it can track the health of the crops, it can make predictions and study natural disasters if they are likely to occur, like wildfires or hurricanes. And ultimately, it also assesses the environmental changes over time. Okay. And now we come on to the next component of precision agriculture, which is auto steer and wireless telematics. Let us first talk about auto steer. You know what is a steering wheel? If you drive a car, you know what is a steering wheel. So when I say auto steer, you can imagine a tractor that can drive itself with no driver required, with pinpoint accuracy. It follows a predetermined path, or it can even adjust its location in real time. That's how wonderful this auto steer technology is. And this ensures that the machinery stays on course with minimal deviation. So I've just mentioned some of the applications of auto steer technology, which relies on the GPS technology to guide farm machinery, like your GPS enabled tractors with auto steer. Number one is during planting, it ensures that the rows are perfectly spaced and straight, optimizing seed placement. Next, when harvesting, it allows for precise control, reducing overlap and missed areas. Sorry. Operators can focus on monitoring and adjusting equipment rather than steering, reducing fatigue and increasing safety. And it also minimizes fuel consumption, reduces input wastage such as seeds, fertilizers, and pesticides, and ultimately increases the overall farm efficiency. So, this is a wonderful component of precision agriculture and has been mostly used in the developed and maybe some of the developing countries. Now we come on to the next component, which is wireless telematics. You can think of wireless telematics as the nervous system of precision farming, which connects the farm machinery and the equipment to the digital world. So basically, the wire telematics it relies on cellular networks and satellite communication to probably I must say collection to collect and transmit the data from the machinery to cloud platforms or central databases. It also helps in the real time monitoring of the equipment status, the performance, and the location in the real time. And lastly, these telematics can be integrated with the, big data. I just mentioned data analysis, right? Data analytics, such as GPS, such as weather data, soil analysis data, that will eventually provide a comprehensive view of the farm operations, and this enables data driven decision making. Next component of precision agriculture is yield monitors. As the name suggests, yield. Yield of what? The final product, that is the crop. So, yield monitors are electronic devices which are used in agriculture to measure and record the output or the yield of the crops after they are harvested. These devices are typically installed, as you can see in the picture, they are typically installed on the machinery. It could be a harvester, it could be a combiner, or it could be a tractor. And these yield monitors use various sensors and instruments to collect data on maybe the crop mass, the moisture content of the crops, and the crop flow rate in real time. So, certainly, it may make use of GPS technology to analyze the yield data to gain insights into the crop performance, the high or the low productivity, the type of soil, the type of irrigation, the fertilizer application, all can be assessed with the help of yield monitors. So I've just mentioned here, yes, these can be typically installed on all of the agricultural machinery. Last but not the least, and a very, very important aspect or a component of precision agriculture is artificial intelligence. I'm sure you must have heard of it. Artificial intelligence has gained prevalence during the last decade, and it has played a pivotal role, a very important role in precision farming, and has helped transforming the traditional agriculture into a highly efficient, data driven, sustainable industry. Let us now have a look at the key roles the artificial intelligence plays in the precision farming sector. The first is predictive analytics. When I say predictive analytics, I am particularly talking about the crop yield prediction. All the most of your artificial intelligence, also termed as AI, it is abbreviated as AI. So whenever I say AI, I'm clearly referring to artificial intelligence. AI models, they analyze the history of what? History of the weather patterns, history of the soil conditions, history of the crop yield in order to determine the future. So when I talk about prediction, what do you know? What do you understand by prediction? You are making a guess, but it's not a wild guess. It is actually an algorithm. It is actually an artificial intelligence based system that is going to make conclusions about the future productivity by keeping into account the past history of that crop. So, this will certainly help farmers make an informed decision about planting, about harvesting, about resource allocation, about irrigation, etc. The next role is that it plays is in crop monitoring and disease detection. When I say crop monitoring and disease detection, I can give you an example of drones and cameras which have been powered by artificial intelligence. There have been artificially intelligence powered drones and cameras which can capture beautiful pictures, high resolution HD pictures or images of crops. And these algorithms, these AI based algorithms, then analyze these images to detect the early signs of diseases, pests, or nutrient deficiencies. The farmers can take, they can take proactive measures to address these issues before they are spread. Address means they can take some precautionary measures by applying of targeted pesticides, insecticides, or maybe weedicides. The next role it plays is in precision irrigation. The classical example I would like to give you is of soil moisture sensors. This artificial intelligence processes data from soil moisture sensors which have been placed in the field or the farm and which determines the precise amount of water which is needed for irrigation. So basically, it helps in the optimization of water usage. The water should not be wasted, which means that it would prevent overwatering and it will ensure that the crops receive the right amount of water or hydration that is required for its good health. The next one is in the role in weed management. There are uh, artificial intelligence driven robots and machinery that has been equipped with cameras and sensors that can identify and target weeds. So we can selectively apply herbicides or weedicides only to the areas which have been affected with weeds. We don't need to, sprinkle it here and there everywhere, thereby reducing the need for widespread chemical use. Then we have spoken about one, two, three, four. Now let's come on to the fifth role of artificial intelligence, which is during autonomous farming equipment. I have innumerable times given you an example of a GPS enabled tractor, right? So, in this case, also, an autonomous farming equipment, the very good example of an autonomous farming equipment is a self driven tractor in which the artificial intelligence powered tractors, which have been equipped with GPS and sensors, can navigate through the fields automatically, autonomously, following a predetermined path with great level of accuracy, and they can perform various tasks such as planting, plowing, reaping, harvesting, seeding with great precision. And then the next is in data integration. What does that mean? Data integration. So clearly, this artificial intelligence can integrate data, which means that once the data is collected, what data? Data could be related to the weather, the data could be related to the soil, which the sensors collect. It could be the satellite imagery data. It could be the historical data of the crop health, the crop productivity. So all of this data, when analyzed by an artificial intelligence system, gives a gives an idea to the farmers and the agronomists to make data driven decisions. Now, these are known as data driven decisions regarding planting, pest control, and resource allocation. Then the next is crop selection and rotation. When I say crop selection and rotation, again, artificial this intelligence algorithms, they can analyze soil conditions, climatic data, and it can also give you an idea about the market trends to suggest which crop will be most suitable for which specific location. So this will actually promote crop rotation and diversification. You know what is crop rotation? Crop rotation is a way of planting crops in installments. Like for example, crop A will be planted and harvested in year, let's say, 1 and 2. Then in the third year some other crop will be planted, and then in the fourth year some other crop will be planted. That is known as crop rotation. Like for year after year, the same crop is not grown in the same land, it has to be changed. So this promotes reduction in the soil depletion and increasing the overall farm sustainability. Then the next role that the artificial intelligence plays is during the supply chain optimization. This is a wonderful application of AI where it can actually predict the timing of harvest and shipping of the product based on the market demand and weather forecasts. So, this will certainly reduce post harvest losses and spoilage of the products of the crops, and it will also ensure timely delivery to the markets. The next is monitoring livestock. This livestock are the milch animals which are reared for, let's say, milk, for their meat, for their skin, for their hides, etc. So this artificial intelligence analyzes the data from the cameras, from the sensors, from the wearable collar sensors to monitor the health and behavior of the livestock. It can actually help in detecting signs of illness, stress, or signs of sickness, allowing the farmers to intervene promptly and make a good decision. Next is climate resilience. Now, this artificial intelligence models can actually simulate. Simulate is they can, replicate various climatic scenarios to help farmers adapt to changing weather patterns. They can optimize planting schedules and selecting different varieties which may be climate resistant. And last but not the least, market insights. When I say market insights, I'm referring to the price prediction. Artificial intelligence has an exceptional ability to analyze the market data, including the previous prices and including the future market trends to predict any future price fluctuations of the crop price. So this will certainly help farmers to make an informed decision about when to sell their product and at what price. So all in all, I will just get back to the components that I was speaking of. We have covered 8 components of precision agriculture, in which we have seen the role for GPS and GIS. We've seen the role of auto steer, remote sensing, artificial intelligence, data collection and analysis, yield monitors, which collectively have strengthened the precision farming or precision agricultural techniques in the world, which has finally transformed our agriculture to a great extent. Okay. So, this is it regarding the first technology that I was about to speak about. Now, I'm going to talk about the second technology, which is biotechnology and genetic engineering. You know, when we talk about the socialization of technologies in agriculture, it is impossible to ignore the transformative role of biotechnology and genetic engineering. These cutting edge fields have revolutionized the way we grow crops and raise animals, offering remarkable
Okay.
opportunities to the agro sector. Yes, please, you want to say something? Tell me.
Yes, madam.
Yes,
I
please
had
tell
to
me.
ask about
About?
wireless telemotics.
About? Sorry, I don't understand.
Wireless Wireless telematics.
You want to ask about wireless telematics? Yes, tell me. What do you want to ask?
I didn't hear you talking about it.
Okay, okay. So, do you want me to repeat it once again?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
certainly,
please.
certainly, certainly, I'll do that. So, I was talking about auto steer and wireless telematics. As I mentioned, that auto steer it relies on the GPS technology, and a very good example of auto steer will be a GPS enabled auto steer without driver tractor or a harvester in which you will not require any driver, and it can precisely, very accurately throw in seeds, undergo harvesting, undergo seeding, etc. Wireless telematics can be thought of as a extension to auto steer, or you can say it is considered as the nervous system of precision farming, which connects the farm machinery. Now, the farm machinery may have GPS, it may have GIS, it may be connected to satellite. So ultimately, it is going to the wireless telematics connect the farm machinery and the equipment to the digital world. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that wireless telematics they are relying on uh, satellite communication and cellular networks in order to collect and transmit the data from the machinery. What kind of machinery I'm talking about? I'm talking about harvesters, I'm talking about tractors, I'm talking about combiners. So it is to collect the data and transmit the data from the machinery to a central database or a cloud platform, based on which the farmers and the agronomists, whoever is working in the farm, can monitor the equipment status, its performance, its location. It can also deal with the amount of fuel that it has consumed, about the temperature of the crop. So many things can be informed by telematics, and when these telematics data is integrated with other precision farming data sources like GPS, like weather data, like soil data, soil analysis data, it gives an overall broad, comprehensive view of all the farm operations, and it ultimately helps in, data driven decision making. That is what is wireless telematics is. It is based on satellite communication and cellular networks. Is that okay? Can I move forward, please?
Yes,
Clear.
madam. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I was about to start with the second technology, that was biotechnology and genetic engineering. Starting with genetic engineering, which involves altering the genetic makeup of plants or animals by introducing specific genes or modifying the existing ones. Why would somebody want to do that? We would do that maybe to I have just mentioned it here. Yes, what is the impact of genetic engineering? Why would somebody play around with the genetic makeup of any crop or any animal or any fruit or any vegetable? For following reasons. Number one, genetic engineering brings about improved crop traits. Genetic engineering has given us crops like BT cotton, which produces its own pesticide. So, clearly, if it is producing its own pesticide, the name of the pesticide is actually a proteinaceous component which is known as triproteins. which are produced by itself. So you do not need to, spray pesticides on it because it is producing its own form of pesticide. It reduces the need for chemical sprays. And genetic engineering has also led to development of virus resistant papaya varieties and drought tolerant maize varieties. Maize is corn varieties. And then next is genetic engineering also reduces the environmental impact. Clearly, these engineered crops, they will require fewer pesticides. Sorry, lesser water, which is a win win situation for the environment. And lastly, higher yields, which means that these engineered crops have improved yield potential, thereby addressing global food security challenges. There will be no deficiency, or there will be no scarcity of food, and you'll be able to feed the population at a gradual pace. Then the next one I was talking about was the biotechnology. So, biotechnology encompasses an even broader range of techniques that leverage biological systems, organisms, and derivatives to develop products and technologies for agriculture. Basically, it makes use of microorganisms, those minuscule species of bacteria, maybe viruses, maybe fungi, maybe yeasts, maybe molds, in order to develop products or technologies that are beneficial to humankind. So I've also jotted down the impacts of biotechnology, which can be seen in the form of tissue culture. This technique allows the scientists to propagate plants from small tissue samples. It's a game changer for propagating disease free plant clones and rare varieties. The biofertilizers, that is, the beneficial microorganisms like nitrogen fixing bacteria, are used to improve the soil fertility naturally. And lastly, synthetic biology, that is, emerging technologies, enable the scientists to design and engineer organisms with specific functions. Now, those functions could be the production of vaccines or even as biofuel precursors. So, okay, we have just, I have given you the definition of biotechnology and genetic engineering, but what is my actual purpose is to talk about the socialization aspect of both these technologies, since my main crux of the presentation is the socialization of technology. So, when I talk about the socialization aspect, the very first one that both of these technologies cater to is food security. When I say food security, the genetic engineering has the potential to increase crop yields, ensure a stable food supply for growing population. Next is reduced chemical usage. I just mentioned that it involves decreased amount of pesticide usage. So clearly it is a more environmental friendly practice and it promotes sustainability. The next is both of these technologies get the access to advanced varieties. So the adoption of biotechnology and genetic engineering can play a good role for small scale farmers by providing access to high yielding and resistant crop varieties. And the next is economic implications. The use of biotechnology can improve the agricultural productivity, leading to increased
Sorry for the
income
interruption.
and economic development in rural areas. And last but not the least, with so many positive impacts, also come the ethical and the environmental concerns, which raise important questions such as the potential for unintended consequences or the impact on the biodiversity. There have been studies which state that the genetically modified organisms may be allergic. Genetically modified foods are pertaining to resistance and so many other apprehensions
Sorry,
which
madam,
come.
for the interruption.
Yes, please tell me, do you want to say something?
My screen is not changing.
uh, I am still on one slide, that is the socialization aspect of biotechnology and genetic engineering. Can you see that?
I'm not seeing the components of a precious agriculture.
Oh, you're still on that slide.
Yeah, it's now. Yeah, it's going.
Now it's changing.
Yeah.
Okay, 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 I was talking about this one. Now it is visible, the socialization aspect of biotechnology and genetic engineering.
Yeah.
Yes, so I was talking about the ethical and the environmental concerns.
Okay, I can proceed.
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
So,
Okay, so we have completed two of the important, uh, you can say, the technologies, the precision farming and the biotechnology and genetic engineering. And now I proceed to the third and the most important technology, which is sustainable and organic farming technology or organic farming practices. I have already spoken of sustainability. I would rather emphasize on organic farming practices now. So, organic farming, it is as per the definition. I'll first read through the slide and then I will explain you. As per the definition of USDA, organic farming is a system which avoids or largely excludes the use of any synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, hormones, feed additives, etc. So clearly, anything which is organic, which has been grown organically, will not involve the use of any of these artificial inputs like the fertilizers, pesticides, etc. And to the maximum extent feasible, rely on techniques like crop rotation, crop residues, animal manures in the form of organic manures, mineral grade rock additives, and biological system of nutrient mobilization and plant protection. So basically, organic farming, it is a nature's way of farming. You are not using anything which is synthetic. You are using most of the traditional forms of agriculture, crop rotation, and minimum tillage, using of organic manures. Organic manures may include green leaf manure. You can include vermicompost. I will just talk about all the components of organic farming in just a while. So basically, it is a method of farming which is aiming at cultivating the land and raising the crops in such a way so as to keep the soil alive and in good health. That will make use of organic wastes. Now, that would comprise of maybe the crop waste, the animal waste, the farm waste, the aquatic waste, and some of the beneficial microorganisms like biofertilizers to release nutrients in the soil for crops for increased sustainable production in an eco-friendly manner in a pollution-free environment. So, organic farming is one of the classical examples of nature's way of farming, which does not utilize anything which is synthetic, makes use of traditional farming practices. However, organic farming can still be incorporated with newer technologies. Like the use of drones, like the use of robotics, like the use of GPS and GIS. It can still be incorporated. Only the use of anything which is artificial in the form of fertilizers, in the form of manures, in the form of weedicides, insecticides is prohibited absolutely. So I have mentioned here the different, you can say, components or examples of organic farming: green leaf, crop rotation, vermicompost, manure, biofertilizer, animal husbandry, biological management, etc. Let us take each of these components one by one. The first one is green leaf manure. You know what is manure? Manure is the decomposed waste material which actually imparts nutritional value to the soil, which actually enhances the nutritional value of the soil. So, when I say green leaf manure, clearly, as the name suggests, it is obtained from the green leaves or the twigs of the trees or the shrubs or the herbs which are collected from the farms and the fields. And you may also have plants which are growing in wastelands, in fields. These are also another source of green leaf manure. So ultimately, the use of these decomposed green leaves and twigs, they help in improving the soil structure, increases water holding capacity of the soil, and decreases the soil loss by soil erosion. No, nothing artificial is being used. Leaves, which are a natural form of you can say decomposed form of leaves, can be used for enhancing the quality of soil. And the next is crop rotation. Crop rotation, I have previously mentioned that it implies the cultivation of diverse crops on a specific piece of land over time. Like for first 2 years, maybe you grow soybean. Then for 1 year, you grow wheat. And then for 2 years, you can grow maybe alfalfa or some other plant-based crop. So normally, crop rotation helps in improving the physicochemical conditions of the soil and thus improve the overall fertility of the soil. I'll give you an example. There are certain nitrogen fixing vegetables such as the soybeans and the alfalfa. In crop rotation, they help in settling the climatic nitrogen into the soil through root nodules. So basically, when the nitrogen is generated inside the soil, which will then be accessed by the subsequent crop. So it is generated by one set of crop, but it will be utilized by some other set of crop. So this eventually changes the crop residue in the rooting patterns and enhances the. Does anybody want to say something? If you're not saying something, you may please put your microphones on silent. It's a little disturbing. Okay. So I was talking about crop rotations and it helps, progressing the soil biodiversity. You're using nitrogen fixing bacteria, vegetables, which are eventually helping in enhancing the nutritional value and the quality of the soil for the next crop. And then the next is biological management. When I say biological management, I'm referring to the control of insects, control of pests, control of pathogens, which is definitely a challenging job in the organic farming. So, the conservation of these natural enemies or pests is important for minimizing the use of chemical pesticides or insecticides or maybe weedicides, and also for avoiding multiplication of insecticide resistant pests. And then the next is animal husbandry. When I say animal husbandry, the more appropriate term will be organic animal husbandry. Why? Because organic animal husbandry will deliberately avoid the use of any synthetic inputs. I just mentioned no, nothing artificial will be used. So in the case of rearing of animals, no drugs, no feed additives, no genetically engineered ingredients will be used during the animal husbandry and rearing operations. So basically, it is promoting the use of organic and biodegradable inputs from the ecosystem in terms of the animal nutrition, animal health.
We can't hear you. You are muted.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah.
You are.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And is my screen visible now?
Yes,
Yes, visible.
yes.
Yes.
It's showing.
Okay. Okay, great, great. All right.
Yes.
So I was talking about manure. As I mentioned, that manure is a form of decomposed waste. It could be from the leaves, it could be from the animal waste, it could be from the plant waste, it could be from the biogas slurry waste, compost, crop residue, straw residue, all these are very good substitutes of inorganic fertilizers. So basically, all these organic decomposed material, which are known as manures, they help in improving the physicochemical properties of the soil, and they also help in reducing soil erosion. And last but not the least is vermicompost. You know, vermicomposting is a technology, it is a process of turning organic debris into worm castings. These worm castings are a very good source of nitrogen, sorry, of potassium, phosphorus, calcium, as well as magnesium. And these worm castings are very important for enhancing the fertility of the soil. They improve the soil structure, they improve the soil texture, aeration, water holding capacity, and it also prevents soil erosion. So all in all, in the context of socialization of technology in agriculture, this sustainable and organic farming practices certainly stand out as a vital approach that prioritizes environmental responsibility or conservation and alongside the crop health and enhanced farm productivity. Okay, just one or two more slides on organic farming and then we'll proceed with the further technologies. I've already mentioned what is organic farming. Let's have a look at what are the need of organic farming. The excess use of chemical fertilizers, I have already mentioned, it reduces the fertility of the soil. The excess use of chemicals has led to soil pollution, water pollution, and air pollution. Just a moment, please. All right. So clearly, the prime aim of organic farming is to conserve the environment, the ecosystem, to promote sustainable farming practices. It is an inexpensive form of farming because it is not utilizing anything which is artificial or synthetic. And clearly, owing to all these reasons, the organic foods are considered much more safe and nutritious, and hence their demand is increasing with each passing day. I've just jotted down certain benefits of organic farming. It's an environmental friendly practice. It promotes sustainable development and does not cause harm to the environment. It is an inexpensive process because it does not require anything expensive fertilizers or chemicals or other things. It provides healthiest and tastiest food. It offers income, generates income for the poor. It is also a source of employment for much of the rural population as well. What are the limitations of organic farming? Why it is not so prevalent? If it is so good, why every farmer should incorporate it? But why there are certain limitations of organic farming, namely less output, higher price. You know that organic products, they fetch a very high price in the market, clearly because of the fact that you're not using any anything synthetic. You are involving manual labor, you are allowing crop rotation, minimum tillage. All these are labor intensive, energy intensive processes. That is why it fetches a higher price in the market. And then lack of awareness. Many of the people and even the farmers do not have awareness about the organic farming techniques. So that is why they cannot adopt it. And a shorter shelf life, which could be because of the non-usage of artificial preservatives or what do you say, the insecticides or pesticides, which probably is a reason that they get spoiled much easier. So now we talk about, again, we coming back to the sustainable and organic farming practices and a little bit more on the types of technologies that have been incorporated. Number one is crop rotation. I've already talked about it in about one or two or more of my slides. that the farmers alternate the types of crops planted in a specified field over time to prevent soil depletion, reduce pests, and improve the nutrient balance of the soil. The next is conservation tillage. Minimum tillage or no till practices reduce soil erosion. Minimum tillage or no till means the soil is not prepared, it is not tossed and turned, it is not given what do you say, biofertilizers or fertilizers before harvesting or before seeding or planting a crop or a seed, which eventually helps in maintaining or improving the water retention and capturing all the carbon in the soil, which ultimately enhances its quality, its nutritional value for the plants or the crops. And then next is the cover crops. Planting cover crops like clover or rye during the off season prevents soil erosion, adds organic matter to the soil, and enhances soil fertility. And then the next is integrated pest management, also abbreviated as IPM, which emphasizes on the biological control of pests, reduced pesticide use, and monitoring to manage pest populations sustainably. And last but not the least is agroforestry, which means the combination of trees or woody shrubs with crops or livestock, diversifies farm income, enhances biodiversity, and improves the soil quality. So, all in all, if I were to summarize, I would like to mention that organic farming and sustainable farming practices are a holistic approach that relies on natural processes to enhance the soil fertility, control pest, and produce healthy crops. It is going to exclude anything which is synthetic, no synthetic chemicals, no genetically modified organisms, etc. Yes, so it's just that what I've just talked about, the use of natural fertilizers like green manure, green leaf manure, farmyard manure, then biological pest control, crop rotation, non-GMO crops I've already mentioned, and no synthetic inputs like the use of synthetic pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, weedicides, etc. So, just like we talked about the socialization aspect of each of the technologies, now let us talk about the socialization aspect of organic farming and sustainable practices. Number one is awareness and education. The adoption of these technologies will only take place when you aware the population and when you educate them. Education must be done by organizing seminars, webinars, training programs, and supplying instruction material, study material to the farmers at low cost. So the farmers and the consumers, they need to understand the benefits and trade-offs associated with these approaches. Does anybody want to say something? Am I audible to you?
Yes, yes. Okay, no, I was talking about the slide. That's when I've seen the slide move. It was just at the same pace, so
So,
at least I'm able to see
so,
it now.
so is it visible now to you?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So I was talking about awareness and education. So the awareness and education not only to the farmer, but to the consumer also, so that they can understand the benefits, the disadvantages, the cost factor, which are all associated with the adoption of these technologies. And then the next aspect is policy support. It is very important for the government and the agricultural organizations to promote the sustainability, the organic practices by making several policies, by giving incentives, or by giving research funding to maybe academic institutions or to research institutions, to small scale or large scale farmers who can actually adopt these technologies and make the most of it. And then next is consumer demand. Increasing consumer demand for sustainably and organically produced food encourages the farmers to adopt these practices. So if we don't consume it, there is no point of the farmers to produce it. So clearly it depends on the consumer demand. If I need it, if I'm the consumer, I'm the end consumer, I need it, definitely there will be a demand in the market and that will be fulfilled by the farmers. And these farmers can adopt these practices and invest in various technologies that align with these principles. And last but not the least, technological innovation. I already mentioned that sustainable and organic farming practices can be incorporated, can be extended with the help of precision agriculture, resource management, and monitoring tools so that they can be integrated into the agriculture. So basically, it is a form of a health conscious farming. It balances the needs of the present as well as the well-being of the future, and it not only combines the traditional technological wisdom. It also combines the technological innovation. It makes agriculture not just a source of food but also a source of sustainability and equitable healthier society. Okay. I have mentioned just one slide on how are the organic foods defined. So clearly something which is obtained out of an organic farming, and if it is edible, it is known as organic food. So organic food refers to agricultural products that are edible in nature and are grown and processed following specific guidelines and standards aimed at minimizing synthetic chemical inputs like the ones I've just mentioned, promoting sustainable farming practices and maintaining the ecological balance of the ecosystem. Now, you can have different kinds of organic foods that will be available in the market. First is which the label says 100% organic. If a food product, the label mentioning on the food product is 100% organic, it means that only and only organically produced ingredients and processing aids have been used for its production. However, if the word on the label is mentioned only organic, it means that 95% of the organically produced ingredients are used for its preparation. If the label reads made with organic ingredients, it means only or at least 70% of the organic ingredients are used in the preparation of that particular food product. And if the label mentions some organic ingredients, it means that less than 50% of the ingredients are organic in nature, rest of them are not. So in order to designate any food product as organic, it has to be 100% organic, which means that all the ingredients, all the additives and processing aids that will be used during its preparation have to be produced using these farming methods, organic farming methods, and sustainable farming methods. I have mentioned some of the benefits of organic foods here, and I have also mentioned some of the logos. I'm not sure whether you've seen them or not. These are those logos which are often written or drawn onto the packets of food materials which claim themselves to be organic. So, for any food product to be called as organic, it has to be certified by a regulatory body. No food can be called organic by itself. It has to be certified, it has to be regulated by a policy making body or a regulatory body. Like, for example, in the case of USA, the United States of America, the USDA Organic, this one is the certification agency that gives a certification to a food product as being organic. Then this one, the star one, is often used for, it is mentioned on the package, on the food label. This one is for European Union. This one is for India by the name of India Organic. This one is for Organic Mafra Korea. This is for Korea. Uh, um, any doubts, please let me know. Are you able to see my slide?
That's when it is coming. We didn't see it.
Now is it visible? Benefits
It
of
is
organic
visible.
foods? Yes, okay. So I was talking
Yes,
about the
ma'am, it's visible.
okay, okay. So I was talking about the various logo which are mentioned on the packet of organic foods and which are country specific because they are certified by certain regulatory bodies in order to be called as organic. Like for this one, I repeat, is for USA, this one is for India, this one is for European Union, this one organic Mafra Korea, it is for Korea, then this one it is for China, then Natureland, this is for Germany, then this one is for Canada, then JAS is for Japan, and this one is for BioSuisse Organic is for Switzerland. So basically all these are certification agencies and they have their logos which will be printed on the packaging material which claims itself to be organic and has been certified by these bodies. Okay. So when I talk about the benefits of organic foods, I'm talking about no synthetic chemicals. I've already mentioned about this, you know, that organic farming prohibits the use of synthetic pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers. Instead, it only relies on the use of organic or natural materials for pest control as well as soil enrichment. And then next benefit is it is GMO free. GMO stands for genetically modified organisms. So clearly the organic foods which are typically non-genetically modified, they are produced without the use of any genetically engineered ingredients or seeds or organisms. And then the next is it is a sustainable practice. It involves sustainable practice, which means that it helps in promoting the soil health, it helps in promoting biodiversity and conservation of environment as well as natural this our environment and natural resources. Then the fourth one is no synthetic hormones or antibiotics are there. So as you can see, I have already mentioned about the organic livestock agriculture in which the animals are raised without the use of any synthetic growth hormones or antibiotics. They are provided with access to, you know, organic feed. The food that is being fed to them is also organic. And then the next and the very important one is certification. Like I just mentioned, I told you about all these logos. So organic foods have to be certified by a regulatory body. Like I mentioned, for USA, it is the USDA organic label. Then the star and leaf shaped one is for the European Union. Then India Organic is for India, and then Mafra Korea is for Korea. So all these are the various regulatory bodies which have to be all the foods which claim to be organic have to be certified by them, and they will get these labels only when they show ensure compliance with organic standards. Not all products can get this certification. Then next is environmental benefits. I've clearly, innumerably times talked about its environmental impact, the low level of soil and water pollution, etc. Next is the health considerations. Clearly, some consumers choose organic foods due to the concerns about potential health risks associated with synthetic pesticides and GMOs. And then local and small scale production. Many of the farmers, the organic farms or small scale farmers, they contribute to the growth of local food system and reduce the carbon footprint. And last but not the least is consumer choice. You might like organic food, I might not like it. So clearly it is up to the consumer. It is based on the personal preference. It is based on my buying potential, because I told you that organic foods fetch a higher price in the market. It may be dependent on my purchasing power. If my pocket allows, I will buy it. Otherwise, I will not buy it. So it is individual specific. Some individuals may prefer it, some individuals may not prefer it.
Sorry, madam.
Yes, please tell me.
What is Mafrakoria?
It is the agency which is going to certify a food as organic if it complies with the organic farming standards. So it is a Korean agency which is going to certify a product as organic, Mafra Korea Organic. So all these different certification or these regulatory agencies are country specific. It will be different for Korea, it will be different for Germany, it will be different for Canada, and so on. Okay, so it is a regulatory body which is going to certify a food as organic, which is developed and prepared in Korea. Okay,
Okay,
Ma'am,
thank
I
you,
yes,
have
madam.
just question.
yes, please tell me.
Actually, I am Jainul. I'm from Bangladesh.
Okay,
I see there is a no certified agency in our country. Actually,
okay,
Bangladesh is also agricultural country, but
yes, yes,
near there is no organic food certified agency.
okay,
Actually, some non-government organization are working
okay,
for organic farming.
okay,
As like I am a agriculturist. Actually, last 5 years ago, I started the organic farming
okay,
under an non-government organization. We
okay,
trained to 187 farmers
oh,
about
great,
biopesticide, biofertilizer, and
okay,
also some trap for
okay,
pest controlling. So
okay,
right now they are growing and they are doing our training. They are practicing our instruction. So
mm-hmm,
there are producting the product in the
mm-hmm,
harvesting time.
mm-hmm,
It's marketing system is so challenging because
yes,
organic product is like that fully natural, but it
yes.
looks not good, it looks not fine. At that time many.
Your voice is breaking. Can you please check your mic? Hello?
Yes, can you hear
Yes,
me?
yes, 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 yes. I can hear you now. Yes, please tell me.
Okay, sorry. So it's a difficult.
Hello? Your voice is not.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
Can you
yes,
hear me,
yes.
ma'am?
Yes, yes, I
Yes.
can hear you now.
Just I can share you. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
hello.
Yes, yes,
It's
please.
cutting many.
I think there is some connectivity issue, which is probably a reason the voice is breaking.
I don't know. I'm speaking to unmute the microphone. Actually,
Yes, yes,
it's too much difficult when
yes,
farmers are selling the market because
yes, yes,
uh, organic product is always looks not good.
yes,
Actually, it's
yes.
or a small or a big or full natural type,
Right, right,
So
right,
many times farmers fail to sell the product in the market. I think it's a fully awareness, lack of
right.
awareness of our Bangladeshi people.
Certainly, certainly.
So yeah, I see that there is no another agencies are not working. FAO is
Mm-hmm.
working in the Bangladesh,
Right.
and World Food Program is also working in the Bangladesh. But they
Okay,
are doing some project in another state or another location.
okay,
So our organization name was Torongo. It's
okay.
a fully
Can you repeat the name of
they
the
work for
organization, please? What is the name of the
Torongo.
organization?
Torongo.
Okay, okay, okay,
Torongo.
okay. Hello?
So I work with them. Yes. So I work
Yes,
with
yes.
them 4 years.
Okay,
But right now I am working in UN agency World Food Program.
okay.
So I think that it's need more time to sustainable
Certainly.
organic farming in the
Certainly, certainly. It is not a 1 or a 2 day affair. It is certainly going to take,
Yeah,
many years and probably
yeah,
some decades for all this to
yeah.
actually fall into place.
Yes, actually, I'm very happy to get the training. You are explaining very deeply,
Thank you so
and
much,
I
sir.
can learning many things today. Some things are new for me.
Yes, yes.
So thank you so much, ma'am. Actually, I know in the world there are some agencies who are certified the organic product.
Right,
I know
right.
it's a new for me. Thank you,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes.
You can
Thank you.
continue. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. So, since we have spoken about all those three important agricultural technologies, I'm finally summarizing the benefits of all these agricultural technologies under three headings. Number one, increased productivity, which can be done in the form of, which can be encouraged through precision farming, genetic engineering, and biotechnology. Then I spoke of reducing the manual
Ma'am,
labor, which can be, yes, please.
a slide is not showing.
Can't see that slide,
You
please.
can scroll the slide.
Is it visible now?
But
Benefits of
oh,
agricultural technology.
no, no, we are showing benefits of organic foods.
Okay, just a moment. Now is it visible?
Yes, yes, it's visible. You can
Okay,
proceed, ma'am.
thank you. Okay, so I was talking about the benefits which can fall under three headings: increased productivity, reduced labor, and improved resource management. So basically this slide talks about a summary of all the technologies that we've studied so far: precision farming, genetic engineering, crop breeding, and then mechanization in the form of robots, in the form of drones, in the form of tractors. Then you have water efficiency, irrigation facilities, data analytics, and then artificial intelligence, reduced chemical usage. All these are the benefits of agricultural technologies that it confers to our agriculture in current days. Now, I have already mentioned much about the various technologies, but it is very difficult to adopt these technologies by the farmers and by the agronomists. There are so many factors, like Sir just mentioned, that it will take time. It is a time taking process. So, certainly, there are so many factors which actually hinder or hamper the easy adoption of these technologies by all the small scale and the big scale farmers. Even let us say all the large scale farmers may still be able to adopt it, but the small scale ones might not be able to do so. So now I will be speaking about the positives, the negatives, the challenges. What are the reasons why their easy adoption is not taking place? And let us have a look at each of these points one by one. So, the topic is how agricultural technologies are adopted by farmers and diffused across regions. Number one is technology development and innovation. Agricultural technologies, like I've just mentioned, are initially developed through R&D, research and development. This can include new crop varieties, new machinery, new irrigation method, new pest control techniques, new data driven tools, etc. This all comes with the research and development which is carried out by the scientists and the associated personnel. Then the next is technology demonstration and testing. Only the development of technology is not essential. You need to test the technology, whether it is working or not. You have to demonstrate it on a research farm. You have to make a pilot project out of it and ultimately perform trial in order to evaluate whether this technology will work effectively on the farm or not. Okay. And then third thing is information dissemination. It is very important for the government agencies, for the NGOs, for the industry organizations to impart information to people, to the farmers, to the consumers about these new technologies. And this can be done by organizing training program, workshops, seminar, and many and providing educational material to the farmers at a low
Just
cost.
you can move your slide. We can't see that slide.
Can you see it now? How agricultural technologies are adopted by farmers? Can you see it now?
No, ma'am. We can see benefit of agriculture technologists.
No. We can see how agriculture technologies are adopted by farmers and diffused
Yes,
across the region.
yes. Is it fine now?
Yes, it's fine. We
Okay,
can see.
okay.
Oh,
So I was talking about
what
the
are-
fourth point. The fourth point, which was early adopters. Now,
Opa,
clearly, yes, please tell me.
zanga razi.
I'm not able to get you. I hope my
Asaba
slide is
net
visible to you.
panyira panazo. Net build pan.
It is visible. You can go ahead, though.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm talking about the fourth point, which is early adopters. Clearly, there will be some group of farmers known as the early adopters, which who will start using this technology very early because they may be open to innovation, they will have money with them, and they are willing to take the risks. However, the rest will certainly have some apprehensions and they might not be willing to take risks for adoption of the technologies. Then next is demonstration and field days. So as I mentioned that there will be some people who will adopt those technologies and there will be some farmers who will not. So in order to get their trust with those technologies, demonstrations and field days are important because that will showcase the technology in action and allowing those farmers who were initially hesitant to adopt the technology by seeing its benefits through their own eyes. And then next is peer influence. Peer influence means farmers will mostly rely on the experiences and recommendations of their peers, of their friends, of the other farmers. So if they hear about positive results, if they hear their success stories, the early adopters from the early adopters, they can definitely get influenced and try adopting that technology. And the next is the next is government policies and incentives. The government policies, the subsidies, the incentives that the government provides can significantly impact technology adoption. If the government provides financial support and if it gives tax breaks for adopting these technologies, the adoption will be much more faster and frequent. The next is economic viability. Economic viability means the cost. Farmer is only going to adopt that technology if it suits its pockets. So he or she is definitely going to consider the cost of implementation, the productivity yield, the return on investment before actually adopting any of these technologies. The next is adaptation to local conditions. Clearly, the farmers will have the need to adapt to a technology to suit their specific local condition, like the climate, like the available resources, or maybe the soil types. Next is scaling up. As more and more farmers adopt these technologies, economics of the scale up will reduce the cost of input and the services associated to it, thus making it more accessible to others. And then next is training and support. I've already mentioned that continuous training and workshops and webinars and seminars from the technology providers is crucial for the farmers to effectively use and implement that technology. And then next is market access. When I say market access, I'm referring to the ability of the farmers to sell the product or the produce on the market with a double, you can say, income, market access, and which will definitely involve their profitability. And profitability is going to be a strong motivator for the adoption of these technologies. Next is social network. When I say social network, I'm talking about the trust that the people will have within the social networks or among the farmers when they can when they will be able to adopt technologies recommended by people that they trust. Next is monitoring and evaluation. Now, when I talk about monitoring and evaluation, I'm referring to the monitoring of the technology by the policy makers, because that is going to help the farmers adopt to a suitable technology and allow potential improvement. Next is environmental consideration. Clearly, the technologies that promote sustainability, that promote eco-friendliness, environmental friendly farming practices are more likely to be adopted as awareness of environmental issues is growing. And last but not the least is globalization and trade. You know that international trade and globalization can introduce new technologies to regions where they were previously unknown. And again, this will be with respect to the exports and the imports, and they can fetch a good price in the international markets. I have jot down 3 or 4 case studies where successful agricultural technology adoption in different parts of the world have taken place. I hope my slide is visible to all of you. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
madam.
okay. All right, all right. Yes, so I have jotted down 4 case studies where successful agricultural technology adoption in different parts of the world have taken place. Let me give you an example of number one, the USA, which have adopted precision farming. The technology that they've adopted is precision agriculture, which makes use of GPS, yield monitors, and VRT. I hope you remember them. I've already spoken about them. And what are the key factors for success? Number one is large scale farming. You know that the vast sizes of American farms have made precision agriculture or precision farming a highly cost effective one. Then next is data driven decisions. I've talked about data driven decisions as in data analytics, artificial intelligence. So farmers make use of the data that they have gathered about planting, about fertilizer, about pest control, which eventually help them to make more informed decisions. And the next is government support. The US government supports the farmers with financial incentives for adopting the precision agriculture farming practices. And lastly is private sector involvement, in which the agricultural technology companies offer innovative solutions and support to the farmers. So, what is the outcome? The outcome is that precision agriculture has significantly increased crop yield, reduced input cost, and minimized environmental impact on the US farms, making American agriculture more sustainable as well as productive. This is the first example. The second example, the second case study is in Israel. The name of the technology that they've adopted is drip irrigation. Drip irrigation, as you can see in the picture, it aims at uh, watering the plants near to the roots, only to the roots, so that the water is not wasted. Actually, let me tell you that
The slide.
Israel. Yes, please tell me.
The slide. We don't
The
see the slide, madam.
Is it moving now? Drip irrigation in Israel?
No, madam.
No. Let me
Not yet.
just represent. How about now?
Yes.
We
Yes,
can see
ma'am.
it.
Right now we can see.
Okay, great.
Proceed on, proceed.
Yes, okay. So the next case study is from Israel. You know that Israel, it is a country with water scarcity issues. And now it has become a global leader in the drip irrigation technology adoption. It is a technology which allows the crops to have drop-wise or drip-wise water only near to the base of the plant, that is near to the roots, so that any additional water does not get wasted. So, following were the key factors for the success. Number one was water scarcity. You know, as I mentioned, that Israel's limited water resources drove the need for efficient irrigation methods. Next was the R&D. Third was the governmental support, and fourth is knowledge sharing. So ultimately, the outcome is drip irrigation, which has transformed the dry, arid regions of Israel into productive agricultural areas, thus enabling Israel to export agricultural technology and expertise worldwide. The next case study, which I have mentioned, is for India, where the technology that the people, the farmers have adopted is mobile applications for agricultural advice and marketing information. The name of those mobile apps are like Agri App, Kisan Suvidha. What were the key factors for success? The first one was the widespread use of mobile phones and easy access of mobile phones
The
to the
slide,
farmers. Again, it
the
is not
slide,
visible.
please. No, no, no.
Is it visible now?
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So the next case study is about the mobile applications for
Yes.
farmers in India. The mobile application name is Agri App or Kisan Suvidha, and the key factors for application for success of these technologies were the widespread mobile phone usage by the farmers, the local language support, that is, the apps were available in multiple regional languages for wider adoption. The Indian government has made several initiatives, launched certain programs to promote digital literacy and app usage among the farmers, and lastly the private sector development, in which private companies have always also come forward and developed user friendly, very informative apps for general public. So what is the outcome? The mobile apps have empowered Indian farmers with information that enhances crop management, reduces risks, and improves their livelihoods. They have become an essential part of modern farming practices in India. I have changed the slide. Can you see it now? It's a Japan based case study.
No, 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 no.
Not visible? Okay, just a moment. Is it visible now?
Yes, it is
Yes,
visible.
Okay.
yes, it's visible, ma'am.
Okay. So another case study which I would like to mention is of Japan. And you know that Japan is right now at the forefront of using robotics and automation in agriculture to address the unique challenges related to the agriculture sector. There are many key factors for success of robotics in agriculture in Japan. Number one is aging farming population. You know that this Japan's aging population of the farmers has motivated the adoption of robots to compensate for the agricultural workforce, which is gradually declining. And then next is innovative ecosystem. You know, the country, Japan, it is benefiting from the strong ecosystem of research institution, governmental support, private companies. All of them are dedicated to the agricultural technology innovation, which is again a key factor for its success. And then next is integration of traditional knowledge. You know, Japan's agricultural robotics not only combines the traditional farming activities but also talks about the advanced technology to create effective solutions. So it has not left its traditional activities. It is still using the traditional activities, but with the advent of technology, they've made use of, they've integrated those technologies into the traditional systems to make them much more efficient. And then next is sustainability goals. The Japan's commitment to sustainable agriculture aligns with the use of robots, which will eventually reduce the chemical usage and resource wastage. Last but not the least, global leadership or global recognition. That Japan's expertise in the robotics has positioned it as a global leader, with so many countries looking up to Japan as an idol who are facing similar challenges. So, what are the key applications and technologies that they have adopted? Are they have adopted automated tractors, weeding robots, harvesting robots, drone technology, greenhouse automation. Just for your information, I would like to mention what is greenhouse automation. So basically, Japan is a leader in greenhouse automation. The robots control the temperature, the humidity, the irrigation system, and optimize growing conditions for crops like that of tomatoes and cucumbers. And last but not the least, the adoption of artificial intelligence and data analytics. So, what is the outcome? The outcome is robotics have increased the farming efficiency in Japan, addresses challenges related to labor shortage, yields premium quality products, reduces environmental impact, and provides global recognition. So, all in all, basically, all these case studies tell you about how the successful adoption of agriculture technologies can address specific challenges and enhance the productivity and sustainability in various regions of the world. So, I've talked about number one, US. I've talked about Israel, I've talked about India, and then I've talked about Japan. Can you see my next slide now? Is it visible? The socialization of agricultural technologies or impacts on rural communities and economies.
Yes.
Okay,
No,
okay.
ma'am.
Not visible, but somebody said yes.
It is
Probably.
visible.
Okay, okay, it's visible. So basically, this slide talks about the positive impacts of socialization of agricultural technologies. Positive impacts. What are the advantages? Number one is increased productivity. I think I have numerous times talked about it that the agricultural technologies often lead to higher crop yields and more efficient farm operations. Then next is income diversification. That access to new technologies have allowed the rural sector to diversify their income. For example, now farmers can also engage in e-commerce activities, agri-tourism, value-added processing, etc., and generate income from various sources. And then next is enhanced food security. So when I talk about the improved agricultural technologies, they can contribute to greater food production. Eco-friendly systems are being used with better food quality, organic foods. I've already spoken of it in my previous slides. Next is improved livelihood. Again, the adoption of various modern farming practices have resulted in improved standard of living for the rural population as well, increased in their income from agriculture, better access to education, healthcare, and improved housing. And last but not the least is reduced labor intensiveness. So technologies like automated machinery, tractors, and precision agriculture has, reduced the need for a farmer to work under the sun all day long, covered in sweat, making the processes more, attractive to younger generations and easing the burden on the aging rural farmers. So these were the advantages. But clearly, the technology comes with some disadvantages also. Now let us talk about, can you see my next slide, please? The negative impacts. Can you see the negative
Yes.
Yes.
impacts?
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
yes, we
Okay.
can see.
Yes.
So when I talk about technology, I've talked about the positive impacts of it. Now I take up the negative impacts of technology. which is number one, job displacement. When I say job displacement, I am referring to probably this shift of rural laborers from the farm to automation and mechanization. Basically, when machines take over a certain task, the farm labor demands decrease, hence causing underemployment or unemployment. So clearly, when something is being done by technology, by machinery, the use or the requirement of manual labor is not there, which might lead to underemployment. And then next is digital divide. Access to and proficiency in using technology can vary in rural areas. Some people may have access to the technology, some people may have not, depending on their pockets, depending on their social status. They may not be able to have access to the what do you say, the innovative technologies. Maybe they do not have access to phones or broadbands or connectivities, so that could be an issue. And then next is dependency on technology. When I say dependency on technology, basically I'm talking about over reliance on technology that can make rural communities vulnerable to maybe misuse or overuse of technologies, and that can have an adverse effect on the environment. For example, maybe excess of chemical usage or maybe soil degradation, etc. And then next is environmental concerns. When we have innumerable times talked about the agricultural technologies which aim at improving sustainability, misuse or maybe overuse of these technologies will definitely lead to environmental hazards. And last but not the least is cultural and social shift. Again, the adoption of these new technologies can lead to a change in the rural culture and the social dynamics. People will try and move to the more modern and urbanized lifestyles, leaving behind the rural areas. So, thereby, the workforce which is there in the rural areas may be limited. So, I've talked about the positives also. I have talked about the negatives also. Do you see my next slide? Balancing act and mitigation. Is my next slide visible? Balancing act and mitigation.
No,
No,
ma'am. It takes some time. Yes, right
Yes.
now we can
Yeah.
see.
Okay,
See.
okay, great. So I have just
yes,
now talked about the positives. Then I have talked about the negatives. That the technology comes with some positive aspect also, and the technology comes with the negative aspect also. So how do you balance that act? How do you say that the positives are much more or outweigh the negatives? So, in order to balance that ratio of the positives towards the negatives and to maximize the positive effects and to lessen the negative effects, there are policymakers and communities that must take a balanced approach to the socialization of agriculture technology. So, I have mentioned here five you can say ways in which this synchronization or this balance can be maintained. Number one is through skill development. The government, the policy makers must invest in education and training programs that can help rural population acquire the necessary skills to use the technology effectively. The next is support for transition. You know that easy adoption of technologies is not possible. You need to have employment opportunities, you need to have incentives, you need to have funding at hand so as to invest in these technologies, which is again given by the technology, by the government funding agencies. And the next is environmental stewardship. So, implementing sustainable practices along the technology adoption can certainly lessen the environmental impacts. Next is the broadband access. When you expand the rural broadband access, it ensures that all the communities have an equal access to information and communication technology. And lastly, community engagement. You must involve local communities in the technological adoption decision and implementation that can actually help tailor to their unique needs and concerns. Okay, now I talk about in general certain challenges or environmental considerations. Do you see my slide now? Environmental considerations in technology
Yeah,
adoption
yes,
in
yes.
agriculture. Okay, okay. So the first challenge or the environmental consideration is for the use of pesticide and chemicals. The challenges could be with respect to the chemical residues, the pesticide resistance, and other non target effects like disruption of the aquatic life, disruption of the beneficial insects, etc. So, what are the solutions for it? The solutions are precision agriculture, biological control with the help of maybe natural predators, and IPM, which stands for Integrated Pest Management Technology. And lastly, data driven decision making. Again, data driven will be making use of sensors and data analytics and big data, artificial intelligence in order to incorporate all this data and come up with something productive. Do you see my next slide on soil health?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, it's visible now, I suppose. So the next challenges with respect to the soil health, where the challenges are soil erosion, soil degradation, and chemical residue buildup. And these solutions can be conservation tillage, soil monitoring with the help of sensors, with the help of drones, and crop rotation. I've talked about all these terms in my previous slides. Now, do you see my third slide, which is another challenge that is water conservation?
Yeah.
Yes. So the challenges could be the water scarcity, the runoff pollution, and inefficient, what do you say, inefficient irrigation. So the water scarcity would mean many regions of the world face water scarcity, and excess use of water in the agriculture may uh, lead to harming the ecosystems. And then water pollution or runoff pollution will be poor water management, and runoff from the farms can lead to nutrient depletion in the body in water bodies. And next is inefficient irrigation, that is traditional irrigation methods also involve waste generation of lot of wastewater through evaporation and runoff. So what are the technological solutions to it? Smart irrigation, also known as precision irrigation, in which the technology driven irrigation systems optimize the water usage, reduce the water, and conserve the water resources. And then next is drip irrigation. I've already spoken about it. And next is monitoring tools by making use of remote sensing, satellite technology, all of which help to monitor the soil moisture, crop water needs, and enhance the irrigation efficiency. Is my screen visible now?
Yes.
Ma'am,
Okay. The
just
promoting,
one request. Can
yes,
you
please.
show the previous slide? Previous.
This one, is it visible? Is it visible?
Yeah. It's visible.
Okay, okay. If you're not asking
Yes,
anything,
it's
can you?
visible.
Yes, thank you. So, can I move forward, please?
Yeah.
Do you see this slide of mine now? Promoting sustainable and eco friendly farming practices through innovation.
Yes.
So basically,
Yes.
this slide is a summary of what we've already talked about: precision agriculture. The next is agroforestry, which is actually uh, combining trees and shrubs with crops or livestock, and it helps in increasing the carbon content in the soil. The next is organic farming practices. We've spoken about it. Sustainable irrigation, like the use of drip irrigation, soil moisture sensors. The next is crop rotation and cover cropping. The next is hydroponics. So, hydroponics is basically a new word for you, which is a technique in which you grow plants using a water based nutrient solution rather than soil. So basically the plants grow in water and not in soil, and there it is mostly used by small farmers and commercial enterprises. And the benefits that it portrays on the environment is that the plants are healthier, they mature faster, the automation is easy, and the susceptibility to pests and diseases is negligible. They also give a better yield. And lastly, sustainable livestock farming, which again involves smart livestock monitoring, genetic selection, good feeding practices to the animals, thereby reducing the environmental impact and improving the animal welfare. We now move on to a very important aspect of socialization of technology. Can you see my next slide? Emerging technologies like blockchain and IoT.
Hello?
Is my screen visible? Emerging technologies like blockchain and IoT.
No, no, no.
No.
No, it's not.
Yes, right now
Yes,
Yeah.
we can
yes.
see.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. So these two technologies are two of the most recent technological advances which have played a vital role in modernizing and optimizing farming practices. The name is blockchain and the other one is IoT, Internet of Things. Let us talk of each of these aspects one by one. Number one is blockchain in agriculture. So, blockchain is like a decentralized, tamper resistant ledger technology that can provide transparency, traceability, and security to agricultural supply chains. Its potential role in agriculture includes number one,
Mangoes
supply
are
chain
ready.
transparency.
Mangoes are
Supply
ready for
chain,
consumption.
The slide, please, the slide.
the slide is changing. Is it visible?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I don't know why it is not changing. Anyhow, so what is blockchain? It is a decentralized tamper resistant ledger technology that can provide transparency, traceability, and security to the agricultural supply chains. Its potential role in agriculture includes number one, supply chain transparency. Basically, transparency means that consumers can actually verify the origin, the quality, and the safety of the food product, which will eventually enhance the trust in the quality of the food product. So, basically, this blockchain technology allows tracking the quality of the agricultural products from the farm to the consumer. Every step in the supply chain, from planting to harvesting to production, processing, packaging, distribution, is recorded in a ledger form, which is known as blockchain. The next is food safety and traceability. So, again, traceability means in case of any foodborne disease or illness, or if any food product recall takes place, the blockchain enables the rapid traceability of the food product to their source, reducing the scope of recalls and the risk to the consumers. The smart contracts with blockchain can automate compliance. Does anyone wants to ask something? If not, you may please put your. If you're not asking something, you may please put your phone on microphone on mute, please. If you want to ask, may ask. But if not, may please put your microphones on mute. And the next is fair and transparent transactions, which clearly means that the small scale farmers will get a better access to global markets, and they can get a good return for their price. So when the blockchain comes into picture, it will actually facilitate fair and transparent transactions between the farmer and the buyer. He can actually have a look at how the payments are being executed, what are the conditions, reducing the disputes, any delays that might take place, and it will get a, it will offer the small farmer a better opportunity to present its product in the market. I'm moving on to the next slide. Let me know if it is visible to you, which is IoT, Internet of Things in agriculture. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Visible.
So Internet of Things is nothing but we've already talked about that the IoT smart agricultural products are basically designed to help monitor the crop fields using sensors and you can say drones and GPS and GIS. All these things come under the Internet of Things. I've just mentioned some applications of IoT in agriculture. Have a look quickly, please. IoT sensors can monitor soil conditions, weather, crop health, and equipment performance in real time. GPS guided tractors and drones equipped with IoT sensors can precisely plant, fertilize, and harvest crops, thereby increasing efficiency. IoT devices such as wearable sensors and smart collars can monitor the health and behavior of the animals. Automated feeding system controlled by IoT can optimize feed distribution, reducing the waste and the costs. IoT sensors can monitor soil conditions and weather conditions. Energy efficient lighting and climate control systems in indoor farming are IoT enabled, thereby optimizing energy usage. And IoT generated data can be combined with the machine learning algorithms. What are algorithms? Similar to that of the artificial intelligence to predict disease outbreaks, pest infestation, and weather events. So all these things are under the applications of IoT. So basically, there are numerous benefits of combining blockchain and IoT. As I just mentioned, that it is going to give you a end-to-end secure, transparent, fair agricultural ecosystem, and the data that you have generated from the IoT sensors can be securely recorded on a blockchain, and that ensures data integrity and trust. But then again, can you see my next
Ma'am,
slide? It is
I'm yes, ma'am.
okay. The
But
next is challenges
I
and
am asking
considerations.
something, ma'am.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Tell me.
Actually, what is blockchain? It is a kind of software,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, yes,
Blockchain
yes.
is a kind of because we are doing building blocks. It's
Okay.
a kinds of blockchains. We are actually I'm working with refugee camp.
Okay.
Displaced people who are came from Myanmar. So
Okay.
right now we are using the building blocks platform. There is a
Okay.
more information how come to
Yes.
the supplier, how
Yes. Yes. Yes.
the beneficiary are purchasing food, how accounting or financial issue.
Right.
Everything is in the
Blockchain.
building
Yes.
blocks. So
Yes. Yes.
I think blockchain is like that.
Yes, certainly.
Uh,
You know what is a ledger?
am I
Ledger is
okay,
like a,
ma'am?
yes, yes, you are right. Ledger is like a register or a book in which you document all the things, right? But it is like
Yes,
you
ma'am.
have a
Yes.
register and you have a pen. But in this case, you don't have a register, you don't have a pen. Basically, you have
Yes.
it is like a decentralized ledger book or a technology that
Yes.
contains all the information related to the supply, the production, the consumption, everything related to
Yeah.
the supply chain is present on it, and it can be uploaded to a cloud
Yes,
platform.
ma'am. Actually,
Yes.
yes. Right now we are fully
Mm-hmm. Your voice is breaking. Can you repeat, please?
I've missed what the speaker is saying. Can the speaker repeat what he's saying? It's like he's not loud enough.
I'm not able to hear you. Can you please repeat it?
Maybe you continue. We can't hear him as
ma'am.
well. I can't hear him as well.
Yeah. His voice is not audible right now.
Maybe you continue.
Okay, let me
Ma'am.
continue then. Yes. Please tell me.
Uh, Sorry, network problem. I am actually
Yes.
staying in the rural place. You know,
Okay.
Bangladesh is not advanced to network. So
I
actually,
understand.
right now, it's work is very easy. When they come in Bangladesh, that time it was so tough to manage the financial or
Hmm.
supplier or delivery. Right now, it's very easy. We can see the screen,
Yes.
how many foods are available in our outlet, how many people receive the food, how many people are
Yes.
remaining. It's very fantastic, ma'am. I can
Which
understand. Thank you.
exactly is
Yeah,
transparency. That is what is
yeah,
transparency is. That you can have a look at
yeah,
each
yeah,
and everything from the production to the consumption to storage to distribution.
yeah,
Everything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yes.
got it, ma'am. Continue, please.
Thank you. Okay. So can you see my slide now for challenges and considerations?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
All right. Now, I've talked about blockchain, I've talked about IoT, but it certainly comes with certain challenges. You know, the investment in infrastructure, data management, cyber security, all this is cost intensive. So somebody who wants to work with this will have to spend some money on it. Not some money, spend good amount of money on it. Then farmers may need training to effectively use these technologies and interpret the data. Using may be easy, but the interpretation of the data or the analysis of the data may not be that easy if you're not technologically sound. So that is why farmers would need training. And last but not the least is privacy and data ownership concerns must be addressed, especially when collecting confidential or sensitive data from the farms. So these are the challenges and considerations. In addition to that, there are some common challenges and barriers to the socialization of technologies in agriculture. Do you see my slide? Common challenges and barriers to the socialization of technologies in agriculture?
No,
Yes.
ma'am. Please take.
Okay, somebody says yes. Probably it is visible.
Visible to
Yeah.
me, very visible.
Okay, the first common barrier is limited access to technology. You know that the rural areas may lack in the access to reliable internet connectivity or to the digital infrastructure, which may limit the adoption of technology and access to critical information about the technologies. And then next is data privacy and security. Can you see my slide? Data privacy and security. Is my slide visible? I've written here data privacy and security.
Uh, I'm afraid not. I'm still on the
Yes,
slide,
yes.
common challenges.
Privacy security, we are able to see it.
Now is it visible? Data privacy and security.
Yes.
Me, not
So,
yet.
but somebody says yes,
Do you mean on the
probably.
same slide?
Same slide, yes. Common
Do you mean
challenges
on the
and
same slide?
yes, same slide. Common
Yeah,
challenges
she
and
wants the same
barriers to the
slide.
socialization of technologies in agriculture.
Okay,
I've just now
I see
talked
it
about
now.
the digital divide. Now I'm talking about data privacy and security. Now, when I talk
I
about
have
data
seen it.
privacy, the farmers may have concerns about the confidentiality of their information, their data, especially when they are using a cloud based or a data sharing platform. So, that is why it could be a concern for the people, and they would want to make their systems cyber secure. Next is cost of technology. Clearly, the cost of these technologies, the initial investments will be high, and they can be prohibitive to many farmers, especially the small farmers. So that is why the expenses, looking at the expenses of the maintenance of the software updates, can certainly strain their budgets, and they would not want to adopt the technology. Then next is lack of digital literacy. When I say lack of digital literacy, I am referring to the inability to, or maybe I should say, many farmers may not have the necessary digital information or training related to the use and the benefits of the technology, and that is why they will not make an effort to do so. Next is inadequate infrastructure and I'm sorry, inadequate infrastructure and connectivity. It may be poor road networks, unreliable electricity supply, lack of storage facilities that can hinder the adoption of technology by the farmers. And then next is customization and adaptation. One size does not fit all. Some technologies may not be as easily adapted to the diverse conditions because the locations may be different, the soil types may be different. So one size might not fit all. Depending on the different regions, the different farming systems, some technologies might work, some technologies might not work. Next is resistance to change. Farmers may be reluctant to abandon their traditional farming practices and favor the new ones, maybe due to familiarity, maybe due to hesitation, and that is why they will not adapt to newer technologies. And then next is regulatory and policy issues. When I say regulatory and policy issues, in some cases, the regulatory framework may not exist or may be inadequate to govern the use of emerging technologies. So, again, the government has to make provisions for these policies, or the policymakers have to make provisions for the better adaptation of these technologies across all the communities. And then next is cultural and social factors. When I say cultural and social factors, I'm referring to the traditional, maybe religious beliefs, maybe cultural beliefs that will not allow the farmers to easy adoption to the newer technologies. And then next is market access and economic viability. Farmers may struggle to access market for their products even with improved production methods, maybe impacting the economic viability of the technology. Next is environmental considerations for obvious reasons. Some technologies may have an unintended environmental consequence if not used responsibly, thereby leading to having concerns about sustainability. And last but not the least is interoperability, which is the compatibility issue between different technologies and software systems that can actually hamper the integration of technological tools to the existing systems. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've just jotted down three or four more successful government initiatives which have mentioned that the role of government and policies in technology adoption in agriculture. The number one is India's National E-Governance Plan, which is also known as NEGPA. The initiative of NEGPA is to seek to improve agricultural governance by providing farmers with timely information and services through digital means. And what is the impact in India? We have mobile applications, SMS services, agricultural call centers, GIS, GPS, better marketing access through e marketing platforms, improved agricultural practices, crop insurance portals, data analytics tools, etc. The next is example is Brazil's agricultural and livestock plan. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, so again, the impact is they have used GPS guided tractors, they have used drones, they have produced GM crops, integrated pest management techniques, climate smart agriculture, satellite technology, blockchain for traceability, digitalization, mechanization, all have been adopted by the Brazil agriculture and livestock plan. Is next one visible? United States precision agriculture.
Yes.
Again, they have made use of GPS, remote sensing, satellite imaging, VRT, automated machinery, robotics, drip irrigation, precision sprinklers, crops and soil sensors, weather and environmental modeling under the United States Precision Agriculture Act. Is it visible now? The next one is China's Internet Plus Agriculture Initiative, which have made use of agricultural drones, remote sensing, blockchain, IoT, big data, precision agriculture, wearable sensors, GPS, automated feeding systems, etc. I'm going a little fast because I have already talked about these technologies. And last but not the least is Kenya's e-agricultural strategy, where improved access to information, markets, financial services for Kenyan farmers, adoption for ICT. ICT is the interactive communication and technology tools, mobile applications, GIS technology, internet connectivity, digital literacy, agricultural data management systems all have been adopted by Kenyan government. I am winding up with my presentation with certain of the last few key takeaways, which is uh, number one, we've talked about precision agriculture revolution. You know that precision agriculture technologies include the GPS, remote sensing, data analytics have enabled farmers to optimize the resource use, increase yields, and reduce environmental impact. Next is access to information. I've talked about mobile applications, SMS services, online platforms that provide farmers with real time access to vital information, weather forecast, market price, expert advice, thereby enhancing decision making. Next is financial inclusion, digital financial services, mobile banking, access to credit, savings, insurance. All have fostered a financial, technical inclusion in the rural areas. And then market access. I've mentioned about e-commerce platforms and online marketplaces that connect the farmers directly to the buyers, thereby eliminating any middlemen. Next is sustainability and traceability. I've talked about blockchain and IoT sensors, which eventually enhance the sustainability, transparency, and traceability in the agricultural supply chain. Next is environmental management or conservation, in which technology adoption contributes to promoting soil health, water conservation, responsible or optimized resource management. Then you have rural empowerment, data driven decision making. I've mentioned about data analytics, governmental initiatives, the government led programs and policies that support technology integration in agriculture, and then the global recognition, such as countries like United States, Brazil, China, India, Kenya, exemplify how technology adoption is revolutionizing the agriculture and thus contributing to increased productivity, sustainable practices, as well as economic growth. So, all in all, I would like to wind up my seminar by telling that the transformation potential of technology in agriculture not only enhances the farm efficiency, but it also enhances the global challenges. Which challenges related to the food security, related to the environmental sustainability and the rural development. So, as the technology continues to evolve, its role in shaping the future of agriculture is very much instrumental in meeting the growing demand for food production while ensuring a responsible and sustainable farming practice. Okay, so I have, mentioned a few set of questions probably for you to know whether you are able to grasp my seminar or not. Would you like to go ahead with a few of the questions, please? Do you see my first question? What is the primarily goal of precision agriculture? Do you see my screen?
The question is not visible.
Is the question visible now?
Now it's visible.
What is the primary goal of precision agriculture? Anyone, please answer. A, B, C, or D? What is the primary goal of precision agriculture?
C.
Excellent. To optimize resource use and boost crop yield. Excellent. Good answer. Can I move on to the next question, please? Do you see the
Yes.
next question now?
Yes,
No.
ma'am. Proceed.
Which technology provides farmers with real-time weather forecast, market price, and pest management tips?
I still can't see the second question.
I can't see the question.
Is
Okay,
it
now it's
visible now?
visible.
Which technology
Yes.
provides farmers with real-time weather forecast, market price, and pest management tips?
Mobile app.
Blockchain.
Excellent. Very good. Can I move on to the
Mobiles.
third question,
C.
please?
Yes, please.
Is the third question visible to you now?
Yes.
How do mobile banking and digital financial services benefit the farmers?
Requirements, enhanced crop health
A.
monitoring,
A.
credit
Super. Very
saving.
good.
A.
Excellent. It enables the access to credit, savings, and insurance. Excellent. I'm moving on to the fourth question, which is this. Answer, please. What role does
Ma'am,
blockchain
B,
technology?
B.
E.
Excellent.
Come.
Very good. Very good. I'm moving on to the next question, which is it
Go and
visible?
buy me we came together. I don't know. Go and buy me that
Which
card.
technology
A.
enables
Someone
precise
A.
planting, fertilization, and harvesting by using GPS guided machinery?
A.
A. A.
Sure?
A.
No, it is D. Variable rate technology. VRT. Okay?
Or B.
I move on to the next question, which is this. Do you see? How do GIS and remote sensing technologies benefit agriculture?
C.
C.
Absolutely correct. Excellent.
Land mapping, soil analysis.
It.
Yeah.
I move on to the next question, which is seventh one. Which technology enables the farmers to make an informed decision about resource allocation by analyzing data from multiple sources?
D.
C. C.
Tell me.
D.
Yes, it is C.
C.
Big data
Nanga.
analytics. Yes, it is correct. I move on to the last question for today, which is which
Them.
technology is commonly used in
And this
agriculture
person.
for livestock monitoring and health management?
Hmm?
Which technology is commonly used in agriculture for livestock for animals, for livestock
A.
monitoring and health management? No,
B.
it is
B.
C. It is C.
C,
I've
C.
mentioned
Very
I've
very well
mentioned
said.
wearable
Yeah,
collar
good answer.
sensors which can actually keep a
Yes,
check on the
very
health
well
of the
said.
animals. So the answer is C.
I wish I joined the seminar earlier. I came in
Yes.
late.
So I wish to thank you all
Thank you,
for
ma'am.
giving your precious time for listening to me. I've mentioned here my email ID. Have you any queries? Might you have any queries? You may please contact me on my email ID at any time, and I will be happy to solve your queries. Thank you so much for now. Can I close the session?
Ma'am,
Uh,
just I would like to know,
Yes, please. Yes,
Thank you.
please.
Thank you.
would you please share the PPT? Would
Sorry,
you share all PDF file?
I would speak to Dr. Joseph
We,
Mamba about this, and if he says, I will share the same for sure. Okay?
oh, okay, ma'am. Okay,
okay,
ma'am.
I
Yes.
want to. I
I
Yes.
also
will go
wanted to
ahead.
ask
I will
It's
speak to
great.
him
students.
regarding this. Yes, please tell me.
I
Thank you
wanted
so
to.
much, ma'am. Actually, it's a fantastic training.
Thank you.
Really,
Thank you
I
so much.
very enjoy the training
Thank you so much.
by passioning. So, thank you, ma'am. I am from Bangladesh. I am Jainul.
Thank you.
I am
Thank
very
you.
pleased to receive the training,
Thank
ma'am.
you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Might you have any doubts? You may please contact me on my email ID. I will definitely help. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you